Hi, I'm Father Joe. I want to tell you a story about my brother Paul. My brother Paul is one of those guys who has a lot of knowledge about a lot of things. He's just sharp. And one of his specialties is geese. He loves studying geese. He knows all about them. Well, I was sitting on his porch with him one day. He lives out in the sticks, and we were noticing geese flying over, and they were flying in the V formation, as they often do. My brother Paul took that opportunity to explain to me about how flying like that's the most efficient thing for these geese and how they work together to achieve maximum speed with a minimum energy. It's very incredible stuff he was telling me. And I pointed out to him, I says, you know, Paul, one line is always longer than the other in that V they fly in. And he said, yeah, do you know why it is? Do you know why one line is always longer than the other? I said, no. And he said, well, there's more geese in that line. What do you do? Let's get to today's question. We have two today. First, dear Father Joe, why can I go to communion in some churches and not in others? Is there a rule here? Well, communion doesn't necessarily mean the consecrated host, okay? It's rather our communion with other churches. So what does that mean? Well, as Roman Catholics, there are some churches with whom we are in communion and some churches with whom we're not. Communion is a unity of belief and of purpose. Usually issues of our communion with other churches have to do with either doctrine or authority. When we say authority, what we mean is the structure of the church. And when we say doctrine, it has to do with what we believe. For example, in terms of authority, we say for us as Catholics that the Pope is our spiritual head. He's the one who defines our theology for us, lets us know what's right and wrong. He is our spiritual head. Any church that recognizes what we say is his supreme authority in matters of faith and morals and, is then in communion with us, we would say. Also, they would be in communion with us on issues of doctrine, our beliefs. Now, if we walk down the negative way, we see there are churches with whom we're not in communion. Maybe they disagree with our system of authority, or maybe they disagree with our theology, whatever it is. While we are one in Christ, we are not one in practice. So because of that, we don't pretend we are by receiving communion, the sign of our unity, as well as the source. Now, if we did, it would be like a single person wearing a wedding ring. It just ain't true. Let's look at the second question. Dear Father Joe, recently I attended a non-Catholic worship service and they recited the creed. What's up with that? They even said, quote, I believe in one holy Catholic and apostolic church. I don't get it. Help. Fear not, distressed one. I'll come to your aid here. The creed is a statement of what we hold to be true, right? And in many Christian churches, you will find that there's little dispute over whom Jesus is and the role of the Trinity, etc. The church we're at obviously agrees with the Roman Catholic Church on theological issues and probably disagrees on authority issues like we talked about earlier. Now, the phrase, one holy Catholic and apostolic, it's a little more simple. In this case, the word Catholic is a lowercase c, and it means universal. Universal or all-encompassing. Those who say that phrase then, they agree with us on the issue of being one, holy, universal, and apostolic. So just like us, they say what they believe. Thank you very much. Enjoy another day in God's presence.